Good evening,
Miss
everyone.
Key, I am here.
Yes,
Miss
ma'am.
Key.
Thank
But
you.
I was just getting ready to text you. I'm going to leave my camera off because I have a guest here, a
Okay.
little guest that likes to, so I like to let you know so I'm not being rude.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. Ms. Randolph.
Yes.
Thank you. We do have a quorum, so we're going to get started exactly at 6:30.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. I'm gonna turn my mic off until then.
Thank
but
you,
I'm
ma'am.
here.
All right. Ms. Childs Jeters, just want to hear your voice.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm working on two computers, so I had to find. I'm using mouse on one and my hand on the other, my finger on the other one, and I got confused.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Did she say 2 computers?
That's what she said.
Boy,
she moving
positive
up.
things come out of that pandemic. I keep telling people.
I've had these two computers for quite a while. This is both of them are Dell's. So good things did come out, Vice Mayor. A whole lot of good things. Some bills paid off.
No, that's right.
Did not purchase 15 pair of boots that I wasn't gonna wear anyway.
Oh, Jesus.
And dresses with tags on it from the year before. So I am good.
Yes, ma'am. You ready to step into the next year?
One thing I didn't do was get all this junk out the house. Now that was a missed one. I wasn't feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
How are you all doing today?
I have had a really rough day and weekend. So I hope that we can process through this meeting. And if there's anything that can wait to council meeting, I hope we can do that. But I didn't want to cancel the meeting, so I do want to honor our commitments and not cancel. But we'll be okay.
Yes, we will.
We will. And I'll keep you in my prayers.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
I think I read your minutes. I'm not sure. I have to say thank because I got a whole bunch of paperwork here.
Yeah, I think they just came out maybe Thursday or Friday. It was a really busy couple weeks for Miss Randolph, working with Planning Commission and things like that. So we got it. I do have mine. So, and I believe she sent them out on email. So I didn't see anything that was major, but definitely take some time to look through it, make sure it's to your likings as well.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I did send, it should be in your packet, Councilwoman Childs Jeter.
What's that?
The amended minutes from March and then April's minutes for economic development. It should be in your packet. I think I put a paper clip on it. I think.
Madam Wonderful, Miss Council Clerk, it wasn't about getting it, it was about reading.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. You know what they say, sometimes you got to stay out of grown folk business. I'm sorry.
As I told someone earlier today about it's something that I should be doing for the state of Ohio and the Great Lakes Regional, she called me to give me some information, and I said to her, why don't you just stay in your lane?
Mm-hmm.
And stop it. You're not on this, you're not working on this committee. We have a whole group of people. If you want to join, show up at the Wednesday meeting and tell us that's what you want to do. And of course, once you say something, you have taken on that journey. So when you open your mouth up, you have become that person. Don't call me, give me work to do.
All right, great people. It is 6:30. Mr. Pavel, we are ready to begin.
All righty, as soon as that graphic goes down, you're good to go.
Thank you, sir.
gone?
Good evening, everyone. Today is Monday, May 3rd, and I would like to call the Economic Development Committee meeting for the Village of Lincoln Heights to order. May I have a roll call, please, Ms. Randolph?
Okay, it's 6:31 according to my clock. Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Present.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Present.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson,
Present.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell. Okay, I'll recall her name. Councilwoman Phyllis Baber. Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell. Okay, no response. Councilwoman Phyllis Baber. No response. We have 3 who are present. We do have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Randolph. Ms. Powdrill, will you offer a prayer, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dear Heavenly Father, thanking you for the time that we have together. Thanking you for the Village of Lincoln Heights. Lord, I just ask that you watch over the village, that you cover the leadership of the Village of Lincoln Heights. Give us the courage to do the right things for the residents of the Village of Lincoln Heights. Empower us, have favor over us, encourage us, give us the courage to think big and bold. Lord God, I ask these things in your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. May I have a motion to accept the previous meeting minutes for April 5th, 2021?
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
move to accept the minutes from April the 5th, 2021.
I'll second that.
Thank you. It's been properly moved in second. We'll do an all roll call, voice call. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Next item of business is old business. We have our minutes from April 5th. We also received our corrected minutes from March 1st. There was only one item that I wanted to correct for March 1st, and it had to do with the title of one of our presenters at the time. So there's no need to go back to that because we did approve that one already, pending any corrections. But do you have, or does the committee have any items that they would like to see discussed from our previous meeting in April?
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to hold mine for 6B because it had to do with Wi-Fi. So I'll hold
Thank
it till
you.
then.
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am. Mhm. Anyone else? I didn't have any items in old business. If something does come up, if you guys see something that you want to discuss, we'll just bring it out in miscellaneous business. All right, so we'll move on to new business. Madam Manager, we have 2 items for you to discuss. The first one is in our pillar for housing. We discussed in a few economic meetings previously about putting together an MOU with the Port Authority and with Hamilton County Development, I believe. You may correct that. Do you have any updates on that?
The MOU is not at this point, it's not a tri-party agreement. It is an agreement with the Port Authority. I did follow up with the Port Authority and I spoke with Jessica Powell regarding specifically the memorandum of understanding. We should be having something this week that will require us to focus on the direction that we would like this partnership to go. So I'm excited about receiving that document to kind of go over, and we'll reach out to you, Madam Chair, to discuss highlights of that document.
Thank you, Madam Manager. Ms. Randolph, will you also let the record reflect, I believe Ms. Phyllis Baver has joined the meeting?
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Madam Manager, when we get that MOU and you've massaged it, you've looked at it, you think it meets the things that we have discussed, you'll bring it back to this committee in full detail so that we can kind of see it, know what we're looking at, and to make sure that we don't have any items that anybody from the committee would like to consider. Is that how we're going to do it?
Yes, and I would also like to have Mr. Desai to kind of look through it as well, because he has a good understanding of what we can and cannot do as a village.
Perfect.
So I don't want to project out something that I would like to do and we can't do it. So I wanted to give you the most accurate information that I can.
Got it. Thank you. Any questions about the MOU process? All right, we'll move down to item number B, community Wi-Fi update. Ms. Paldro.
That is moving along quite quickly. I don't recall if I told you that the county will be putting out an RFP for Wi-Fi. Can't remember if we shared that, but there's a pot of money that was made available under the CARES Act funding, made available for the villages for new Wi-Fi and existing Wi-Fi for future upgrades. We have sent, I have sent a set of questions to 3 vendors. They have responded. What I will be doing is looking at all 3 of those responses. And then I would like to set up a Zoom call for Vice Mayor Stinson and Linda Childs Jeter to kind of go through high level of what is being proposed, and just to keep you informed. And I will ultimately make a decision on the direction that I would like to go, and come back to this committee and share that. But I wanted to make sure that everybody was well informed about what was proposed back. Does anybody have questions regarding that process? And
Yes, I do.
go ahead, please.
Not really about the process. It was about, is the money for the Wi-Fi part of House Bill 168? You know, I keep talking about House Bill 168, because it also has something to do with money for fares, Wi-Fi, and it was 2 other things. I'm not for sure, but those are the only 2 that were important to me. So,
They have different,
because there may be some more money coming is what I'm saying, so.
Vice Mayor, I am not familiar with House Bill 168, but I am familiar with a bill that was just approved in the House that provided funding for providers to assist residents in getting Wi-Fi in their homes. But I can do a little bit more research on House Bill 168 and see how we can utilize that for events and other opportunities in the village.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
There are different pots of money. There's money all over the place, you know. So there would be several opportunities to work on that. People are pulling for that, for Wi-Fi. And so what we have to do is get on board. I'm ready for it. So I just wanted to say that as I listen to and attend the different meetings it's talked about.
Gotcha. And one of the things I wanted to kind of pull back out when we first started with our sessions, Ms. Childs Jeter, you and Vice Mayor Stinson had indicated that you wanted to be part of that working committee out of this committee. And so that's why I encourage Ms. Powdrill, and she's doing that, to work with you. I am not going to attend those sessions because then that would be a violation of our sunshine laws. So you all have those discussions and then bring that information back to this committee. That's what we're looking for.
You are totally right, Councilwoman Key, and normally I am on that. So if Ms. Key is going, I mean, if Vice Mayor is going to attend, then I will not be attending. Or if I attend, then I hope that she would not attend. And that's because we serve on safety as a majority, and things are a little nasty out there, and people are reporting folks. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so we don't want to do that. But the meetings that I was talking about, meetings that I attend for the commission piece and what they're talking about and whether the pots of money is out there and how they want this to happen. They actually want broadband to happen. They're very supportive of it. So they're trying to find out ways that they can also divvy up their monies.
Gotcha. So with that being the case, I can either be the second person to work with Ms. Paldro, either with Ms. Stinson or Ms. Jeters, because I don't think we serve on any committees that would constitute a majority outside of this committee. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so now
Madam Chair,
yes, ma'am.
I can just gather the information that I have on House Bill 168 and pass that information on.
Perfect. Will you, when you pass it on, Vice Mayor, will you just copy the entire committee and CC the additional members of the council?
Sure.
Thank
So, Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
From my understanding is that we should not be sending out information to each other as chairs. It should come from you should send it to the clerk and the clerk send it.
That works for me too.
That's what I was told. So I don't know how true that is. I'm learning.
I'm fine with that.
Sounds safe to me. I'm okay with that.
All right. So then Ms. Paldro, myself and Ms. Childs Jeter will be in that meeting with you. I think you kind of know what my schedule looks like. So it'll have to be something after 4-ish.
So I have a question, Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Mitchell.
So I'm trying to understand how the Wi-Fi funding works in terms of billing. So we pay for the Wi-Fi. What is the fee? I was looking at the document that PowerNet sent, and it asked the questions about the 1 to 2, 3 years. What would the fees be?
Mm-hmm.
But the question was, it wasn't answered. It didn't say what that cost was. So we have Wi-Fi installed. How do we build that into our yearly budget? What do those expenses look like?
Yes, and Ms. Mitchell, I saw your one of your emails that came back that was asking about the basically the sustainability of it as well. So my understanding, and Ms. Paldro, you may want to speak to this. I don't think we're at that point where we have all of that information and we're ready to pull the switch and say, we're going to do it. We're still gathering information from my understanding. So we're still in that informational stage. So your question has been noted here in this committee. We can make sure that Ms. Paldro has that so we can be prepared to answer that. I think there's still lots of questions that we just aren't at that point from my understanding. Now, I might learn something more in the meeting because I know that based on what Ms. Paldro said, she had sent out that information to a few providers and they just responded with that information. So we'll learn more and then we'll be able to bring it back to this committee. Once we come back to this committee with the information, hopefully we can have a lot more questions answered. And then if we have more questions, let's go ahead and discuss what that's going to be, if that's fair enough.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that all of our questions that we may have, even though Ms. Paldro is looking at them, if our questions, we had enough information to ask the questions so that she can use those questions to make her decision.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I hear you. I understand where you're going with that. But knowing that we're not making decisions, we are just still fact gathering.
Right.
and
Right.
still deciding how we want to consider proceeding forward. Because this body would then make the recommendation to council after we are clear with that. But we wanted to do some pull-out working committee meetings so that we can answer some of those questions, because there's still some questions that I have that I don't even know if we have gotten those answers, and we may have. I just haven't seen the final documents yet that's been presented. Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. So Ms. Paldreau, if you would just set up a meeting with the working committee that's going to work with you on some of those things. And then Ms. Mitchell, we definitely will note your statement in this meeting and be prepared to come back with more information. We may have to do some more research. I don't know. I just don't want to have this meeting be so overwhelmed with just having that conversation, because that is a big project.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you. Any more questions on Wi-Fi?
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am, Mayor.
if you'd like, you're welcome to have a conversation about it again at council meeting next Monday. After if the mayor, if the vice mayor wants to share some information, we can also talk about a little bit during committee of the whole.
Madam Chair,
Because I know you need to.
wait a minute, Mayor. I got to figure out how to share it first. Give me some time now. Wait a minute, Mayor.
I was gonna say, Mayor, that might be too soon because it's coming up.
I do have the information. I just don't know how to share it.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Madam Mayor, thank you.
Just know that you're so welcome to have it at one of the committee meetings or council meetings.
Thank you. Thank you for offering that. I'm not sure if we're ready for that step just yet, but we definitely will keep that in mind as an option. Should we
Okay.
to have an earlier meeting. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right. Any other questions about Wi-Fi at this stage where we are? Okay. So we'll go on to the next items. Complete streets and Vision Zero. Did everybody get the opportunity to receive or look at the email that I sent you maybe last week about Mr. Derek Bowman, who met with me, and he sent me some links of 3 projects, 3 community projects that are using the Vision Zero model, but it's really a complete streets model. And looking at transportation, looking at our pillar for housing, talking about a plan for road repair, infrastructure. This might be a model that we want to use. I particularly was interested because I had heard of complete streets before when we were working with We Thrive and the health department. And I know Ms. Mitchell, well, I can't speak for Ms. Mitchell, but I believe Ms. Mitchell was part of those conversations as well. And so it was interesting that it kind of came back around, and this might be a great opportunity because of the work that we're already doing, funding that we are anticipating coming out of the federal government for infrastructure, for road repair, for different things like that, to look at a model that will help us kind of maybe revisit how our streets are laid out, or can we make our streets or our community more walkable, more pedestrian friendly? And we don't have a lot of crashes where there's fatalities within the village itself, but I do know at one point in time, going onto the highway or coming off of the highway, we had some serious crashes during that time. And I also know that when we look at Wayne Avenue, that's a throughway, and it becomes very traffic intense at times. And that might be something that we might want to look at, because it would give us the opportunity to then go after funding to do some really neat and interesting things for our streets. So please take a look at that, because I want you to be aware. He sent that directly to me, and all I did is forward it to you all. just take a look at what the other communities are doing. I don't foresee us doing exactly what they're doing, but creating our own model for what we want. But I want you to have some knowledge and be available to ask questions pertaining his conversation. I did invite him to our June meeting. So we will have that presentation, and I would like to spend the June meeting talking about that. Yes, ma'am, Ms.
Madam
Mitchell.
Chair. So on that note, because I was going to ask, is there a way that we can jointly look at all three of the links that he sent? You know, could you look at them, you try to compare them? So we all look at them, we all got different questions. Is there a way that we can look at each one? Will he be doing that type of
Yes.
presentation? Because it's, you know, they're pretty intense.
Yeah,
pretty
they are.
comprehensive, I should say.
Yes.
So just a way that we could weigh in on each one all at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good point. So what I can do is I can reach out to him and tell him that's what we're looking for, is to look at that. I do know that when I forgot which community it was out west, I believe, but that one was very intense. It was, they put a lot of work into that particular plan, and not saying that we're going to use that one, but the model is what we want to use, and we want to pull out what we can pull out and be able to use it. So I'll ask him if he would go that route. When I spoke with him, he did not have a formalized presentation. He was just sharing that there are options out there. He kind of heard, probably through the work that we're doing collectively, that we were looking at doing housing and things like that, and street repairs is one of the things that we talked about. And so that's when he said, hey, have you looked at this? I asked him, you know, what is your role in all of this? He said, I just want to bring you the information, because transportation has been his forte for quite a while. And he's done a lot of work in the city of Cincinnati, helping them with their transportation models. And so he's bringing his expertise to the community, because once again, just like when we were talking about it during the time of We Thrive, it was a matter of every community being more healthy, being more safe, makes our whole region more healthy and more safe.
You know, I kind of looked through some of that because I was trying to see how they may have named their streets. You know, we have avenues and streets, one going one way. You know, you can't have avenue and a street going the same way. You know, so if we really want to change the perspective, we need to look at what suffix we put on our streets.
Right.
The other thing that we need to do is really, I was somewhere and I was trying to get the address, and it's like, okay, there's no address on this house. So we are going to have to do something, and I guess maybe that's a law. We need to make sure that individuals have the address, but on top of that, we need to make sure our addresses are in sync, which some streets do not have that.
Correct.
You know, so if we're going to do an overhaul, we have to start basic, really.
And you're right. I mean, it's only fair. From the time that probably the urban sprawl, however they want to call it, you know, things have changed. Conventionings or naming conventions have changed. How streets are looked at from a national level has changed. And this is I think it's the perfect time for us to consider it, considering we're doing some major visioning and getting ready to move into some major rebuilding and rebranding of our community. This is the perfect time to start considering that. So Ms. Mitchell, I will reach out to him and tell him, like, that's what we're looking for. That's what we're asking for. You know, give us some comparisons, like start with one and just go down and ask questions. Because I think there was 3. I think the city of Cincinnati one was the one that was kind of most, it wasn't a full plan for the full city, which is because that's a lot. But it was, you know, more pocketed, you know, into the different neighborhoods and what made sense for those neighborhoods. And that makes sense because that's how they operate. And for us being the size that we are, I think we can really pull maybe some bits and pieces from each one and say, this is what we want. This is the feel that we want for our community and our neighborhood.
Now, I didn't look at all of them, but I know you had about 4 or 5 of them on there, but they're not all of a city. Some is just basic information on design.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yes,
All right.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I agree with Ms. Mitchell. And if we can make it just a little bit bigger.
Okay.
Yeah, just a little bit bigger. Because I was struggling to see, and you know how I am with numbers and maps.
But, you know, when I met with him, you know, he, like I said, he did not have a formalized presentation. And I asked him, can you please provide us with some communities that have used this model to build their infrastructure or to rework their infrastructure? And so that's what he sent. And so I'll ask him to put something together on a visual perspective that we can all see and we can all have. So I'll ask him if he can put that together prior to the meeting. So that way we can have some time to look over it as well, because it is going to be a lot. It was pretty heavy when I met with him. And so I don't anticipate us making any recommendations or anything like that from that June meeting, but I anticipate us getting the information, starting to absorb it so that we can start making some recommendations on how we want to handle our streets and our infrastructure when it comes to that. Because I know it's part of the overall pillars and the goals that Ms. Powdrow has. So this is a great time for us to kind of learn and come up to speed with some of the things that are happening nationally. All right, any more questions about that?
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
before you go to miscellaneous, can you go kind of fill me in on the pillar housing? I'm sorry, I was late.
Yes,
Did you
that's
go over
fine. Basically, and Ms. Powdrow is here, but basically she was saying that we initially thought we were going to do a memorandum of understanding with 3 organizations, but it's really just going to be with the Village of Lincoln Heights and the Port Authority to develop how we want to proceed with housing. I think she said, Ms. Powdrow, are you still there? Because I don't want to speak for her, because I don't.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Will you mind giving a quick highlight again about the MOU status?
So I did follow up with them last week, and their expectation is to have a draft document for us this week. And some of the things we just need to decide how we want to be in partnership together. And so I will be reading through that, having a conversation with Mr. Desai, and then bringing back forth to you a recommendation on how we should proceed.
Well, okay. I have and I have and I missed the last meeting and I had it then, but I like to meet with you I have a sort of like a housing questionnaire that I like to give to council and to the planning commission that sort of ask, you know, how they see housing, what they want to see, what kind of units, you know, so that we have an idea. We're talking about housing and we're talking about our lots and things like that, but I feel that we don't have a handle on what do we want? What do we envision? So I'm just trying to get a feel for what the leadership is looking at. So if we could get together and I can go over that so that we can get that information. The other thing along
Ms.
with
Mitchell,
that.
I just wanted to speak to that. So, you know, you and I are both on that housing kind of subcommittee that's working, doing some work to bring back to this committee. So I'm happy to have that conversation with you. I know one of the things that we talked about as well is that we have a great deal of plans that's already been put together. And so we have a lot of recommendations from that. And so a lot of those things have not changed. So we are bringing a lot of that in. What we don't want to do is we don't want to, you know, well, let's do this. I'm sorry.
I said repeat history.
Right, but let's do this. Let's go ahead and let's set that meeting up and let's talk about, what we feel like makes the most sense in moving forward with that piece. Because I mean, I hear you. We do want to hear from our residents. I'm not saying that we don't.
Oh, yeah, it's not for the residents, it's just for us right now,
us.
for the
Okay,
planning
gotcha.
commission and us, not
Gotcha.
the residents, right?
Right. So I do have, I had a meeting scheduled with Ms. Lindsay on Sunday, but we had to cancel it. So I am planning to meet with her as well to kind of have some conversations, because in their last meeting, I did discuss with them that we had quite a few topics that we are working on our agenda that we're gonna need their input, and we're gonna probably need them to make some recommendations, or we're gonna probably submit some things to them. So I want to be able to do that as well as meet with our subcommittee also. Ms.
Okay.
Cowdrell, I see your hand up.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And I'd also like to add to that, this is more of a collaborative arrangement that I view this as, and as an oversight on my part, I did not include the port in our land use study team, and I have included them. So they've been interviewed, and so they will be all a part of that land use study. And I think the other piece that you missed is that there was some insight that Mr. Desai brought to that conversation as well. So I'm looking forward to this being a very collaborative experience for all of the individuals that are going to be at the table. And I think your input or your questions will be well received with the group of folks that we've assembled around the table.
Vice Mayor?
A couple of questions about the survey. Are the survey questions you came up with, or where the survey questions come from?
Yeah, some of them are, and some I reached back and looked at some other documents that we did a few years back when we were trying to find out what council wanted. So yeah, just based on my experience, and it's not very many.
Somebody that was already working on something, because we already had information. I don't know. Land use person. I don't know. I just thought that we already had something like that in
land use
going on.
Even if we do have a land use, this is just more an in-depth look. What do you want to see? How many units do you think we ought to have or something? How do you see us working with the lenders? What programs do you think we need to do? Just to find out what is in your heads, basically. The other thing, Madam Chair, is that when we talk about Martin Luther King and the housing, we need to look at standards. And I think just to get our mind set on what kind of standards we want, if we take a look at the Martin Luther King standards, those need to be revised. Anybody that's going to build up there, and that they need to be revised. You know what I'm saying? We need to take a look at that and see if that square footage needs to be changed. If the property are we going to require, still allow, I should say, a 1 or 2 car garage detached. So there's some things that as things are happening, what do we want to see in the housing that's going to go there? And which would be the same anywhere we do, what I'm saying? But I think this is just a start to just say, hey, these are some of the things that we're going to have to begin to consider.
Right, and absolutely. And I want to make sure that we cover those pieces. And part of the reason why we talked about even having those subcommittees is so we can dig deep into those. And then when we come back to this body, we have more details in saying, okay, this is what we've worked on. This is what we recommend. Now we can kind of work through it with the committee as a whole, or our committee as a whole, before we recommend to council. So, and I know that you didn't miss that many meetings, I don't believe, but I think you missed a couple, but nothing that we can't get caught up on and finish doing that. That's the reason why we asked you to be on that committee.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. Madam Vice Mayor, did you have another question or your hand just still up from the last one? Okay. All right. So I'll defer to Ms. Powdrill again to orchestrate and set that meeting up to talk more about the housing pillar. And based on the information, like maybe when the information comes back in with the MOU, we can start looking at that to see what they recommend, whether it be when we have the working group with for the land use study, whatever makes sense. Then Ms. Mitchell, we'll get together to kind of go over those pieces to see what direction we want to go. Thank you. Are there any more questions concerning the agenda before we move to miscellaneous? And thank you, Ms. Randolph. For Ms. Mitchell, we did note that you did join the meeting as well. Any items under miscellaneous business?
Yes, ma'am. I can't find the interactive map that Aaron sent. I don't know if did you send it? Did he send it?
We both, but I'll send it to you again.
Okay.
I'll send it to you again. I'll be happy. Matter of fact, Ms. Randolph, how about I send it to Ms. Randolph and then Ms. Randolph can send it out to the committee. I'm getting it, right? I'll send it to Ms. Randolph. That way you don't have to go look for it because I have it in my notes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. You're welcome.
So, Madam Chair.
Don't forget one more thing, Mr. Vice Mayor. Don't forget on that interactive map, if you guys are using that, Mr. Aaron did specify if we're on that map and we see something that is incorrect, to let him know so that they can get it updated. He said, it is a tool, but sometimes they don't have, they might have one or two things just kind of a little skewed, but make sure that we let him know so that he can update it so we can have close to accurate information as possible. Yes, ma'am, Vice Mayor.
No further questions.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you forgot.
Ms. Mitchell.
It was already answered.
No, Ms. Mitchell is absolutely correct.
I
was trying to help you, dang.
All right. Any more miscellaneous items? Okay, any announcements? No announcements? You got
Yes, ma'am, I do have an announcement. Tomorrow is the Lincoln Heights Day committee meeting at 6 p.m. The Zoom link should be on our website.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
To Vice Mayor Stinson, are we thinking about a parade during this time? And I was only asking that because people that are running for office in November needed to know if there was going to be a parade. They want the information.
Yes, ma'am. We should have that sheet finalized by tomorrow because I changed all the forms to make it look 75th-ish.
Okay. All
so
right.
Can I give it to you anytime between now and the end of this month?
You can give it to the
clerk. When I say share with
send it to everybody, and sure. I'll get it from there.
Sure.
Vice Mayor, I have a question here. And to Ms. Powell, are we looking at trying to repair that piece of Leggett that is dangerous?
I don't get out much. What piece is that?
Down there by across the street from me. Down there by Yancey.
Well, I mean, and coming on up, I'm just saying we need to make sure that our streets are going to be okay for walking, You know, we only did part of Leggett. We did not do from Wabash to Adam. And it's kind
Madam
of rough.
Chair, may I?
Yes.
There has been some discussions about prioritizing the streets and using funding with the funding that's available with issue 7. But I don't think we're going to be ready for the parade. But I will go personally and check out the street and make sure if there are any potholes. We definitely want to make it safe for the residents of Lincoln Heights.
We
But
might switch it up and take a different route. Miss Mitchell don't know. She
We
ain't been
always
to those.
Right, and that may be. I'm just saying that if that's the case.
Stephen is going to be repaved. It should be finished by then, I believe, I hope. It's going to start real soon. So maybe taking Stephen, just a suggestion, maybe taking Stephen from Wayne and down to McIntyre across to Lindy May, because McIntyre is going to be done as well. Maybe an option.
Yeah, but we need to look at the top of the hill.
You want me to look,
So we'll,
Madam Chair,
Guys are more familiar.
ma'am.
to the manager, do you want me to look out the window to see? Just asking.
I know, I can do that. Give me an opportunity to walk the streets.
There you go.
And
Thank you,
so
Joe.
we'll make sure we roll that conversation over to Miss Vice Mayor Stinson's meeting when she is planning parade.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Although we do want the streets repaired, but as far as the routes and things like that is concerned, you guys can take that to her committee to discuss it.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I only brought it up because I cannot attend those Tuesday meetings, most night meetings, because they're Zoom. I'm doing Zoom for other things. So that's the only reason why I asked. It was asking me so that they can put it on their calendar.
Oh, no, you're fine.
What the process is. That's the only reason why I asked.
No, you're fine with that.
And I was also messing with Miss Powell. Just she knows what I'm talking about.
You're fine. We're all fine. If there's no more announcements, I do want to say I appreciate you guys for tolerating me. I hope I wasn't abrasive or trying to rush you, but it's just been a long week. It's been a long week for me and our personal and our family. So if there's no other announcements, I just ask you to remember
Don't you
our
have
family
one?
in prayers.
Don't you have one, Miss Key? Or maybe you've already made it. Isn't there a breakfast this week? Is it too late to sign up?
It is too late to sign up. RSVPs closed out 2 days after I sent out the first email. So if you didn't RSVP, you cannot attend because we had to keep it socially distant. So no, I won't be making that announcement today.
So y'all not streaming it or anything like that either?
Oh, we are streaming it.
Okay.
I don't have the details. I will send the details. I did get that information that they're going to stream it. So I'll get the details to Miss Randolph for that.
Poor Miss Randolph, boy, you better be ready to check them emails.
Well, this is a way to make sure that we're safe and we're following.
That's right. That's right.
Following the laws and the rules as best we can, especially when we know to do right, we should do right. And even if we don't know to do right, we need to learn to do right. If there's no other questions or no other announcements, no other comments, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move for adjournment.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your time and your cooperation today.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your evening.